now that some of Trump's taxes have been released, the very beginnings of it at least, what have we learned? Well, look, I am still a little bit pessimistic about the ability of anything in these taxes to really sway a lot of people. That said, the initial stuff is kind of interesting. So the first bit has to do with audits. You'll recall Trump couldn't release his taxes year after year after year after year because he was under audit. Bear that in mind as we go forward, because it turns out that the IRS failed to audit Donald Trump during his first 2 years in office, despite a program that makes the auditing of sitting presidents mandatory. Okay, that was revealed when they released these taxes. Mr. Trump filed returns in 2017 for the 2 previous tax years, but the IRS began auditing those filings only in 2019. He'd already been president for years at that point. The first time they did it was on the same day in April, the Ways and Means Committee requested access to his taxes and any associated audits, which is a little bit transparent. Okay, I guess we'll do it. They're literally right now live on C-SPAN requesting that we do this. I guess we should cover our asses. Oh, very convincing, the cover up that you're doing there. The IRS, by the way, hasn't even completed those audits yet because it was started so recently. And the agency started auditing his filings covering his income while president only after he wasn't president anymore. So not only was his excuse for why he didn't have to release his taxes absolute BS, but there was an extraordinary circumstance that led to that. They're mandated to do that auditing. It's one of the few corruption oversight measures, and they weren't doing it. Now, was that just an oversight, or was there pressure? Were they advised not to look into them until they absolutely had to? I have no idea. Maybe this could lead to a pretty interesting investigation. But Jared, what do you think?
They're getting there, maybe, I don't know. But honestly, at the end of this whole thing, you'll get more information. We're seeing what they did and did not do mostly. But then what's that gonna lead to? Again, back to Brady talking about how we're coming after private citizens. Well, damn, of course, if they're gonna start finally looking into things after he's out of office, now he's a private citizen, but he's still a former president. He's still leading the party in a decent amount, I guess a small certain percentage of the fact he's still leading this party and still declaring he's gonna run for president, still has support from people that are elected officials. So, hey, this isn't just some random nobody private citizen, but it's definitely a way to try and continue to push away from this, because who knows what's in the next guy's taxes? Who knows what's in the next guy's background that they don't want you to know? This is a precedent they're trying to set, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. No, that is a great point too, because it isn't just about Trump. I mean, it could be just about Trump. He's definitely hiding tons of crimes. But if he were to get through all of this and they never were released, then 100%, why would any Republican candidate ever release his taxes? Like maybe one would do it like as a preemptive measure to show that they're clean, but they'd be doing that because others would be refusing to. So yes, I think this is an important, we have to make it clear that if you're gonna run for president, if you're gonna try to get all that power, we get to dig into your past and know, not only if you're compromised, but a ton of other, potentially worrying things. Now, one other thing that came out in some of the early stuff about his taxes was the amount of tax that he paid, oddly enough. When combined with tax records previously obtained by the New York Times, the records show that in 2018, Mr. Trump had positive taxable income for the first time in more than a decade. He had just been going through such hard times up until then. I mean, he was driving a used car. He was barely getting by, eating Easy Mac every night. The dude just couldn't scrape together a couple of bucks. So why did he finally have positive taxable income? Well, that change occurred largely because he had sold properties or investments at a gain of $22 million. And he appears to have exhausted the business losses he had been rolling over year after year. As a result, he paid just shy of $1 million in federal income taxes for 2018. Again, bear in mind, this is a guy who says he is a multi-billionaire. $1 million in taxes sounds like a lot for you, for me, for JR. That's a lot of money. For a guy who has thousands of millions of dollars, that is suspiciously low. And that's the one time he paid taxes. His long-term, by the way, that was it. That was a brief little moment. Then his term pattern of reporting negative income returned by 2020, and he paid no federal income taxes for that year. What happened last year, God only knows, but if I had to put any money on it, it's that he didn't give us any of his money. That's what I would guess. JR, what are your thoughts?
Not only didn't contribute, but also took more, of course. And again, as the process went, as soon as he got in the office, he and his Republican cohorts made sure that continued for more rich folks, that they got more tax breaks. This is how this whole thing works. He said it openly as he was running. Let's not forget all the back and forth about his taxes as he was running, that people were criticizing people for looking for those. He openly said it. Why would I be dumb enough to show you guys things? Why would I be dumb enough to pay taxes? I'm Donald effing Trump. Why would I pay taxes? I have the ability not to. Would you pay taxes if you didn't have to? If you're given special treatment, if you're allowed to skirt rules and no one ever investigates you? Are you stupid? He damn near said that same thing.
Yeah, 100%. And look, some Republicans actually like that. I don't accept it. I don't think that that's okay. I know that I wouldn't get away with it. I love the idea, by the way, that if your business is a failure, which I love that's the argument that he's been making for years and years and years to the IRS. My business sucks so bad and just keeps losing money constantly that I should never have to pay taxes. Well, look, I've occasionally thought about opening up a board game cafe or something. And based on that as the premise and me as an owner, it's definitely gonna lose money every year. I better start that soon because I'm actually paying federal taxes and I would very much like to stop. So come to my board game cafe, you'll be alone and I will be taxless for the first time in my life.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.